back to another video. Today we are about to get into some details. So if you're new to the world of dog food, then definitely go watch the beginner-friendly comprehensive guide on how to narrow down your choices from the thousands of brands out there, and I'll leave that link down below as well as right here. Okay, so we need to cover some basic knowledge first, so let's get that out of the way. Number one, everything I'm about to say pertains to cats too. Number two, this is all based on AAFCO's website and various articles referring back to that website, so I will link all the articles down below as well. Number three, this is relevant to all types of dog food, wet food, dry food, treats, toppers, etc. And the last one I am going to read off my phone because it needs to be word for word. So pet food laws and regulations are enforced by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and both state and federal jurisdiction help regulate pet food. AAFCO does not regulate, test, or approve or certify any pet food. It establishes a model language that states and other governing bodies may adopt into law. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the 5 rules that AAFCO has created for manufacturers to follow to help standardize the process in the pet food business. We're going to start with the least favorable rule and work our way up the quality ladder. Number 1 is the flavor rule. The flavor rule is a way for manufacturers to cut costs while still using the main flavor of the product in the name. For example, Jack's Dinner Stew beef and bacon flavor does not actually need to contain any beef or bacon in the actual ingredients as a source of protein in the product. The only requirement to be able to name the product beef and bacon is that an identifiable trace of beef and bacon flavor is present in the ingredient list, which most of the time is actually just rendered fat or bone meal. Actually, the main source of protein can be chicken. So if you have a dog that's allergic to chicken and you're buying beef and bacon flavored items thinking that the main source of protein is actually beef or bacon, then you might have an issue, because if you look at the ingredient list, what you're actually purchasing is probably just beef and bacon flavored chicken. Number 2 is the 3% rule, or the with rule. For example, let's take chopped ground dinner with real chicken. The fact that the word with is present in the name actually allows manufacturers to be able to claim the source of protein in the name, but they're only really responsible for putting in 3% of the protein source into the total weight of the product. This means that you can buy a can of dog food that is actually 95% plant-based ingredients that are low quality, and the company only really needs to tell you that 3% of it is real chicken. Of course, this is in an effort to be able to compete with other more high-quality brands, but still making the consumer think that they're getting a quality product. To be honest, I don't think anyone wants to buy a can of dog food that says that it's 95% plant-based corn. It just doesn't sound that appealing. So just make sure that if you're looking for a quality dog food, to be aware of with statements when it comes to protein sources. Number 3 is the 25% rule. This rule applies to almost all kibble, since a binding agent is necessary to be able to take a wet ingredient into a dry product. This is also the rule that you need to be looking out for in order to be able to identify quality kibble. So this rule states that an identifiable descriptor word needs to be present in the name in order for it to apply the 25% rule. It also states that in order for the ingredient to be claimed in the name, it needs to be at least 25%, but no more than 95% in the product. Words such as formula, recipe, stew, dinner, entree, platter, any other descriptor word that you can come up with. So let's take, for example, Buddy's chicken and rice formula dog food. Since chicken is listed as the first word in this product, that must be the predominant ingredient in the total weight of the product. This rule also states that both products need to be no less than 3%. So if you're taking a product that has, let's say, a 25% minimum inclusion of these ingredients in the product, then you could have a 22% chicken in the total weight of the product and 3% rice. However, this can be split into different ratios. Anything from 13% chicken to 92% chicken would fit into the 25% rule under the descriptor that we have mentioned. With this rule, both products can contribute to making up the 25%. So if you have a product that is chicken and rice formula and they are on the lower quality end of the spectrum, then it could potentially have as little as 13% chicken and 12% rice. So might not be getting the 25% chicken in the product, but that's why the way the ingredients are listed in the product are very important, and you can kind of calculate from other things listed in the bag how good of a quality and how much protein you are actually receiving from the named ingredient in the name. Let's take the Halo bag that I've been looking at. So the Halo Elevate is 90% protein from animal sources. So because it states that 90% of the protein is going to come from animal sources, and it states that salmon is the predominant source of protein in the bag, then you can assume that at least 46% of that 90% that they're stating is going to come from salmon. If you have a dog with allergies that is allergic to certain proteins, then this is the time for you to check the ingredient list to figure out where the other 44% is coming from in order to fulfill that 90% that they're claiming on the bag. Make sure that those other protein sources are compatible with your dog's allergies and that they're not going to cause an allergic reaction. Number 4 is the 95% rule. Cat parents, this mainly applies to you, but is also relevant in dog food. It's just a lot harder to find. Let's take Paws and Claws salmon and rice dog food. Notice there are no descriptors in that name, which makes the product fall into the 95% rule. With this rule, only animal-based proteins are able to contribute to the full 95%. And of course, any named ingredients cannot be less than 3%. Paws and Claws salmon and rice dog food needs to contain at least 95% salmon and 3% rice. This is mainly going to apply to wet food, as it's very hard to be able to make a dry product from a wet ingredient. Lastly, we have made it to rule number 5, which is the 100% rule. The 100% rule applies mainly to treats, as it is very hard to be able to make anything else that is not a treat fit into the 100% rule. This means that the product can claim 100% of a certain ingredient in their product. So if they say that it's 100% fish, then it needs to be 100% fish, and it can't have any other ingredients listed on the ingredient list except for coloring, added water, and any small trace of preservatives in order to maintain the product. This also applies to animal-based products or just plant-based products. If you have Lenny's 100% sweet potato bites, that would fit into the 100% rule. So the bottom line is that if you are looking for a high-quality dog food, then try to aim for identifying the 25% rule products and try to stay in the higher end of that. Remember that the 25% rule states that it cannot be less than 25%, but also not more than 95%. So if you are staying near the end of that range, then you should be able to have a great quality product on your hands, and you should be confident that that product is providing a complete and balanced nutritional profile for your dog. Getting single ingredient treats that are meeting the 100% rule are a great way to reward your dog with a clean protein. Flavor, food, and treats can be very tasty for your dog, and they'll probably love them, but they are not offering a very good nutritional profile for them. So you can use them for a small amount of time or through training or just as a once in a while treat, but just don't focus on this being their main source of nutrition, as they don't offer very much of anything. The 95% rule is the best if you are able to find this kind of product, or if you want to supplement or top your kibble off with some wet food that is 95%, then this is great for them and will have a very high quality source of protein. But don't feel that because your dog food doesn't meet the 95% rule that your quality or sources of protein are not good. You can still have a 90% protein in a dog food through the 25% rule. If you want to get into more of this dog food details, then I will be making a video very soon about grain-free diets, organic diets, natural diets, and what are the restrictions and manufacturer standards around that. So definitely like and subscribe and stick around so that you won't miss that video. If you are interested in getting everything that I just talked about in an article, then definitely check out my Medium link below. You're able to make a free account, and everything that I just talked about will be in a article form, as well as other articles that I write about dogs. I mostly write all of these YouTube videos into articles, and you'll be able to refer back to them if you need. Let me know what your favorite brand is down below and why you like it, and tell me if it fits into any of these rules. If you have made it to the end of this video, then I greatly appreciate you. Please like this video if you like this video. With that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.